This is real drill-powered go-kart we've been designing in Fusion 360. This is part 4 of the series, so if you are here for the first time, I recommend starting from part 1. Last time we finished here. We completed the gearbox, mounted and secured the drill, and added the trigger lever for throttle's control. In this video we will wrap up the design. We will start with the trunk, continue with the pedal, cable and the housing, springs, gearbox cover, and finally finish it all off with a custom license plate. Let's get started. Welcome to the video of the series how to design and build a drill-powered go-kart with your kids. Let's get started. As I mentioned, we will start with the trunk. This was one of the main requests from my sons, so I came up with this simple design. I built it out of IKEA wooden boxes, combining one large and one small. From the large one I used the longest planks, and from the small one the shortest. The longest ones fit perfectly across the width of the go-kart, while the shortest ones fit nicely into the free space behind the seat. I carefully knocked the boards loose with a hammer and reassembled them using the same nails as before. Over time the top boards started to loosen, so now I'll probably screw them in with wood screws, but it's not a big deal. The lid was also adjusted to fit the new box. It just rests on top, but it works perfectly. I was thinking about adding hinges or magnets, but honestly I didn't have the time, and since it holds fine as it is, why overcomplicate things? To attach the trunk to the baseboard I used simple corner brackets with 2 holes, one on each side. In all 4 corners of the trunk I screw into the wood with wood screws. On the other side I drilled matching holes into the base and fixed it with M5 bolts and wing nuts. This way you just loosen 4 wing nuts by hand and the whole trunk comes off. No tools required, just hands. You can see on the designing that I used washers for connecting the trunk to the baseboard, but as you can guess, after few disconnecting the track from the go-kart, they totally lost. So I use it without washers and it's totally fine. For the pedal, I used a small wooden board. I drilled a hole straight through it. Tip: for first measure your drill bit length before cutting the pedal. I didn't, so my drill bit wasn't long enough to go through and I had to redo it. As the rotation axis, I used an M5 threaded rod. I slid it through the hole, added M5 washers on both sides and fixed it with corner brackets. I recommend using brackets with 2 holes on each side, 4 total, so they stay firmly in place. If you use brackets with only 1 hole, the pedal can twist slightly and not press the throttle correctly. Trust me, it happens to me. It's possible if you will have corner brackets that they will have a small diameter for screws M5, because I use M5, so you need to enlarge it to 5 millimeters just with the drill bits and with your drill. Originally I had lock nuts on the threaded rod, but over time they disappeared. Surprisingly, the pedal still holds firmly without them. One last thing, you will need to drill a small hole about 2 millimeters through the pedal for the throttle cable. On the back side of the pedal the cable will be secured. I made the cable lock out of a screw and a lock nut by drilling a hole through the screws. Simple in design, but I broke 3 drill bits making it. Be careful if you try this. Once done, you pass the cable through, pull it tight and lock it in place with the nut. This part in Fusion 360 took me 5 times longer to model than it does in real life, so I will keep it short. I recycled the cable and housing from an old bicycle. The housing runs along the frame as shown, and to hold it in place I used cable holders. You can make them from wood or if you have a 3D printer. It's designed for M4 screws and 5 mm housing diameter, so if you have different parts you need to adjust it. The file Bowden cable holder 5 mm for M4 in STEP or STL format is available on the Google Drive, along with a complete parts list and other technical drawings. Link for this drive is in the video description. So of course drills for a cover of the wire it's important to drill under the angle. It doesn't have to be 45 degrees, but I use it and you can see it here. On the lever for a trigger of the drill, I also drilled 2 millimeters hole through whole tube that I can connect the wire for pressing the pedal. The go-kart will move. One of the first problems we noticed during the testing was that the pedal didn't return on its own. Of course, why wouldn't it? So I added a simple spring mounted between the pedal and the baseboard. To keep it secure, I added a washer under the screw so the spring's eyelet doesn't slip off. That's important, especially since my kids love stomping on the pedal because they think it makes a funny sound. To the pedal I used wood screw and for baseboard too. As shown in a Fusion, it's good to pre-drill hole to the pedal board for screwing the wood screw that wood doesn't crack. I use 2 mm wood drill bit. The same for the second screw. I can mention here that it's also possible to use screw with nut that you drill through baseboard. It's totally up to you what is better. The second spring went on the other end of the throttle cable, at the drill's trigger lever. It works the same way, pulling the lever back when you release the pedal, so the go-kart stops. I drilled small 2 mm holes into the aluminum trigger lever and the steel seat frame, then attached the spring with wood screws. The screws bit in nicely, and I also used washers to prevent the spring from slipping off, as before at the pedal one. Finally, some safety improvements. My wife will be happy. I made a simple cover over the gearbox. This is pretty important since my boys already tried sticking their fingers in there. Luckily, nothing happened. I screwed 2 small wooden blocks to the trunk with wood screws, then laid 2 boards across them to form the cover. I glued the cover boards together, just boards, with wood glue, but honestly I didn't have to. They could just been screwed side by side. Then I drilled holes through boards and blocks and secured it with bolts. At first I had 2 separate boards fixed with 4 wing nuts, but over time we lost most of the nuts and bolts. Now it's just one glued board held down with a single screw without nuts, and it still works perfectly. In real life I drilled the holes step by step, but in Fusion I placed them all at once. The funniest part, I forgot the most important one, or the biggest one, the big hole for the drive belt. That one I made with just a drill. I drew a rectangle, drilled holes along the outline, punched out the center and filed the edges. The corners are crooked, but doesn't it matter when the car drives? Not really. The final part is the license plate. I bent 2 corner brackets slightly and used 2 thin boards I had lying around. My boys and I decided to put their initials on it. If you ever paint with kids, you know it usually doesn't turn out neat. So I came up with, or discovered, a trick: painter's tape. For example, to paint a D, I shape it with tape, they paint it around it, and when we peel it off, the letter stayed clean. The final plate reads SD, but we call it SIT. The last step in Fusion was applying appearances and materials, basically like painting the real card. That part, I mean painting real, was a lot of fun with the boys, and I will always remember it. I highly recommend doing it, it's worth it. As the final step, I just apply the materials for the go-kart that will look like from the thumbnail and photos you can see. So that's it. We've designed the entire go-kart. If you want to build one and have any questions, feel free to contact me. I'll be happy to help. If you found this helpful, don't forget to hit like and subscribe, because this is just the beginning. Right now we are building a tractor with the boys. buy tractor because we can. Oh, and before I forgot the most important thing, spend time with your kids.